right, we are on. And if you've been waiting for us, you will not be disappointed. Hi, I'm Sylvia Henderson, and you are looking at and participating in another Idea Lab. And I'm thrilled today that I am not carrying the weight of this Idea Lab all on my own. I don't have to be brilliant for 60 minutes. There's a lot of joking that's been going on back here that you haven't seen, but that's okay. The Idea Lab today is titled, I have to look at my own title, is titled, I Just Can't Seem to Get It Together. And I want to tell you just a little bit about what prompted that title and what prompted this program today. You've probably seen that in addition to me, I've got two other guests, and we're sort of a panel that we're going to have today. So you're going to hear from three of us, not just one of me. But let me tell you a little bit about how this came about for today, and then I'll introduce you to my other two guests. You know, actually, because you're sitting there thinking, who are they? And if that's on your mind until I tell you who they are, let me introduce them first, because I don't have to do this all smooth like a regular TV show. So my guests are Renee Canali, and she is the mindset coach. She is I call everybody proprietors. That's an old-fashioned term. She's the proprietor of Cultivating Change. And we'll flash up, or we'll put on the live stream everybody's web addresses anyway. I love yours. It's landofpossibilities.com.
That's right. That's where I live.
All right. So Renee, welcome to the panel.
Thank you.
And my other guest is Mia Reed, the wellness strategist, and I call her the juicer lady. And Mia's business is C.H.A. Chain. So C-H-A-I-N. Each of those stands for something. They must. Yes. And you'll tell us about that later. Sure. Chain 2 Prosper is the name of the business. That's the number 2. And her web address is chain, C-H-A-I-N, the number 2, prosper.com. And you'll see that too on the live stream. And we'll put that up several times while she's talking. And then I'm going to come back and I'll give you a couple of insights that I have about how to get past. I just can't seem to get it together. So we've got studio audience. Welcome, studio audience. Woohoo! Yay! And then we've got you on live stream. And so here we go. So let me tell you a little bit about why this topic today. Everybody knows me, or people know me as the idea implementer. And actually, I'm called the clarity queen of idea implementation. But idea implementation, with an emphasis on implementation, is what I'm known for. And that's what sparks me. It's what stokes me about, we all have ideas. And as entrepreneurs, we're not going to make money off of our ideas unless we do something about it. So implementation, being in action, doing, that's what I'm known for. That's what I pride myself in doing. But I'm human. And so there are times, and I've been in one of those times in this past probably couple of weeks where I've just been struggling, actually over a month, where I've just been struggling, not in inaction, but in slow action. And I just find myself sitting at my desk, sitting at my computer saying, I know I'm supposed to be getting fill in the blank done, but I just can't seem to get it together. And so, in my telling myself, okay, you coach and you teach and you write about implementation, so you've got to get it together because you've got to be practicing what you preach. In that self-talk in my head, I started going through, I guess my own coaching in order to get myself back together again and moving forward. But there still were stumbling times, and I had to figure out, actually I covered in the last live stream, 5 questions that I asked myself in order to move forward, in order to get out of a funk, but I still needed to analyze it even further. I did some things then over the last 2 or 3 weeks that I'm going to tell you about later in my part of the show today, about 2 or 3 things that got me going, got me unstuck. But I also knew when I was inviting my guests or thinking about who to have on the show, I thought, okay, a lot of where we're stuck is mindset. It's up here, however way you want to define mindset, and we'll find out how Renee defines it too in a minute. I thought a lot of what's going on, why I'm stuck, is up here. It's not external stuff. It's not somebody else is making me. It's something up here that I've got to work through or get help working through, and I'll talk about that later. So I wanted to talk about mindset. I also knew that, you know, when you're tired, when I'm tired, when I've been up for 14, 16 hours, knowing I need to get something done, trying to get it done, but not getting it done. Part of it is health. Part of it is tiredness. Part of it is either I'm stoked from caffeine or I'm tired from being up. And I thought, so let me get somebody who talks about your health, your well-being, because that's part of what gets us moving too and helps us get ourselves together. So that's what helped me determine who to have on the show today, who to have on the live stream, or the lab. So with that, you know, we are organized, but we're unscripted. So you know, we kind of knew what topics we were going to cover, and knew what we were going to cover. But it's unscripted. It's going to either be conversation. I'll be asking some questions, but my guests also have information to give you. And this is, you know, the live Idea Lab. It's meant to be actionable. So by the time you're done, you will have had several points, several actionable steps, several resources, whatever happens to come out of our mouths, but there will be things that you can actually take and implement today, now, tomorrow, whenever, to get out of your funk, to get yourself together, and to move ahead. So grab paper, grab a pen, grab your eye, whatever it may be, to actually write and take notes, and stay tuned in. So my first I'm going to have Renee. Coach Renee is her moniker. And Coach Renee focuses on mindset because she is the mindset coach. And so I want to talk to you for a while about the whole mindset thing. Mm-hmm. And like I said in the introduction, so what is mindset? Because I hear that all the time.
Well, it's funny to me that people have such a variety of definitions for mindset. And really, to me, what mindset is a set of beliefs that you have running in the back of your mind. It's part of those little voices that you hear, those little recordings that come up, that self-talk. But it's also your set of values. So that's one of the secrets, I think, to how people get stuck, is they don't understand that both of those things are there together. And sometimes they conflict, which causes confusion, it causes self-doubt, it causes that turning in you. And when you understand what is happening, what that process is, there are several things that you can do to very easily get out of that. But you have to understand what mindset is composed of.
Okay. Now those voices in your head got me intrigued. Values too, but the voices in your head got me intrigued. You know, I know you have this image of somebody's on this shoulder talking to you and somebody's on this shoulder talking to you, and usually there's the good and bad, or the positive, negative, the good and evil, that kind of thing, voices.
Right.
But I know there's also those voices, that stuff that you tell yourself, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, they won't like this. Oh, whatever those will. So which of those kinds of voices are you talking about? And kind of.
It's actually all of them, and they're actually very similar. Most of those, if you think back, most of those you can remember some incident in your life, probably up until the age of 7 or 8, where you remember somebody saying that to you. And it happened in a time where probably it was not a critical time, but for some reason it hit you because you were vulnerable at that moment, and that starts that one tape. What happens over time is you take that particular thing and you start judging or measuring by that. So you hear that tape, you know, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you didn't try hard enough.
Replay it and replay it.
Right, and then you're not aware of it anymore because it's automatic.
Okay,
But-
now there's some 20-somethings that ain't tape. What's a tape?
Don't see it.
All right, it's
No, I know.
it's replay.
Recording.
Yes, it's the recording.
That's
It's
right.
it's the do-over.
I know. Sorry, now I totally messed up your train of thought, probably. But
What train? But what happens is you start not to hear that for a period of time, and it's actually part of your computer. It's part of your hard drive. It's what keeps you going. Something happens, and you're a little concerned about it because it's new to you, but you say, "Hey, I'm going to go for it." You're not good enough. You don't deserve it. You don't know how, and those messages come back because that's all you have to determine whether or not this is good, bad, I should do it, I shouldn't do it. And you start the pattern, the habit, the behavior that keeps strengthening that.
okay. And then take the values part.
Mm-hmm.
Expound on that maybe just a little bit.
Okay, so we're all given values by our family, people that are important to us as we grow up. But then we also have the ability to start determining for ourselves how that needs to change a little bit to fit us, right? My mother may have had a value that you always wear clothes down to your knees or whatever. I may have been somebody who really loves fashion and trend and really wants to be up on things. There's a conflict there. So you start to say, that particular value needs to change for me. But attached to that value is a belief that your mother sent to you.
Okay.
Okay? So you start to change that value. You become more of who you're comfortable being, but the belief is still there.
Okay. Man, this stuff gets like, it's all deep.
I'm sitting
It's
here
all
going
deep
like-
and great. Well, no, I'm just thinking, we try, well, I'm thinking back to now, bringing it back to, I can't get it together. I should be, that's where we talk about shoulding all over ourselves.
Yep.
I should be moving forward. I should be doing what I plan to do in my one-page plan, for the month, or I should be doing something in order to get to what I planned for the year, but I'm not. But being in action is bad because I was told that way back that I need to be in. I'm thinking all this stuff just keeps churning, and so we're in one big funk and mess. And so, what should be?
So-
what are some thoughts for getting out of that
Okay.
funk?
One of the easiest ideas, it's not easy to start, but it's a very simple idea. The best way to get out of that is to sit down and say, okay, what one thing could I do right in this very minute that's going to make me feel better about the situation I'm in?
That sounds like it could be one little thing.
Yeah, it's anything. If you're working on a project and you're sitting at an empty desk and your computer's on, but you know that you have notes. All right, it's a really junky desk and you can't find your notes. And then instead of looking for your notes, you decide that you need to redo your entire office.
Yeah.
Okay? That's, so what is that? That's diversion.
That's
pulling
diversion,
you off,
yes.
right? All you have to do is
Yeah.
say, wait a minute, before I do that, if I have this project and I have this action item on my calendar today, what is one thing that I can do that's going to make me feel better about where I am right now and how close I can get to that goal? And all you have to do is take that one step.
You're right. You're right. And sometimes, and I find, in fact, I was feeling that I've just stared at the screen, or I was so involved in the should be moving that I wasn't moving.
Yeah.
And that lasted for the hour, and then the dog does something, and then that's like, ooh, and off I went, but I came back, and still there was, I should be.
Exactly.
So it was almost like I thought, do I have writer's block? I don't think so. It's just I'm stuck in the inaction.
Yeah. And what's actually going on is that subconscious, it's the hard drive working. It's like, oh good, I really want to be stuck. So how many ways can I sabotage myself?
Oh, you're saying that I was thinking I want to be stuck. In the
Your
subconsciously.
results, yeah, your results actually show you where you are. So
Ooh, that hurts.
if you're sitting there and you're staring at the screen and you're thinking all these things about shoulda, and then you say, I just need a break, all you're doing is changing that procrastination.
Okay.
So your results are really showing you. That's why if you reach for one thing that makes you feel better,
Wow, I
it
like that.
starts to turn the energy that's happening. And then you say, oh, well, I mean, that only took me, 10 minutes. Oh, I could do this.
Ooh.
And then it starts to slowly bring you out. It disconnects the automation that's going on in your
Okay.
body, and it re-engages your brain and your heart. I mean, there's a big connection there.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah, yeah.
So when you say do that one thing, you saying one thing towards that goal that you was, or the project or whatever you was doing. You saying do one thing positive towards that to just break that monotony of the shoulda.
Yes.
Okay.
Other than the one thing that's like go
Like
play with the
the
dog,
dog
and
or
go
wash
into
the
the
dishes or whatever.
Because you're
else.
thinking, I have this whole project,
Yeah,
or I have these
yeah.
15 steps,
Yeah.
and then you paralyze yourself. So if you say, what is the one thing that I could do that's going to make me feel just a little bit better? Right now I'm feeling
I like
so
that.
frustrated. What's a little bit better than frustrated?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Maybe
like
I'm
that.
just irritated. What can I do to get to irritated? And all you're doing is just moving one step towards feeling better.
Wow.
And that's where, that's where health comes in, is what can you do to make yourself be in a better health realm? Because if
Right.
you go get something refreshing, or you do, what could you do that gets you, back into thinking about how I want to feel and who I need to be to run my business the way I want it to run.
Is it bad? Because this is what starts playing too. This is what started playing in my mind too. That it's bad to be in inaction. That it's bad to be stuck.
Well, there are times that being in action is very unproductive, and like I said, your results indicate everything. There are times though, especially as an entrepreneur, that you have to pull back, you have to take care of yourself, you have to disconnect in order to make that space for more things to grow.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're grinding gears.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, again, the indication is if you're feeling better about it, if you're feeling good about it, and you just need a little bit of energy or whatever, sometimes taking that mental break and just taking care of yourself is exactly what you need to do.
Wow. So in your practice, tell us a little bit about what you do. I mean, what do you do to help folks with that mindset? Because it seems like that's a lot of internal work. So how do you, on the outside, help us deal with our inside?
Well,
That made sense.
I think everybody does the exact same thing when they're out to help somebody. You listen to what the person is telling you, and you hear what's not being said.
Mm.
You can't tell yourself what
Right.
you're not telling yourself,
That's
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know. You can't see it from the outside. So my role is the observer. And I have the gift of seeing where there are conflicts in beliefs and values. And because I understand what's going on, I can use your languaging. I can see where you're coming from. I can give it to you where you are, how you interpret information. But I can tell you what is going on and what you need to do to get out of it by just being able to tell you what, let me
you're
ask
hearing.
you these questions and I'm not hearing this.
So we smart entrepreneurs who think we've got it all together, and and we think we're in action, and when we speak about what we're doing and where we're going, we can fool everybody. We can't fool you.
Well, you know, you can, because I'm human too. And if I have stuff and it looks really similar to your stuff, I'm going to be, you know, there's a possibility that I could be drawn into your story. So there are times, like anything else, you know, doctors don't take good care of themselves, they take care of everybody else, etc. There are times where that can get in the way. But I'm trained to be able to say, this, you know, I got to step back for a second, because I understand what's going on and I need to be able to deal with this for me before I can deal with it for you.
Cool. And how do people reach you?
Well, the greatest way to reach me is by telephone. If you're here in the Washington metropolitan area, the telephone number is 240-206-3299, and then 866-337-2728.
Give it again.
Okay.
The studio audience is whispering.
The
Give
studio
it
audience
again,
wants
give it
it
again.
again. Okay. If you want to write it down, locally it's 240-206-3299, and the toll-free number is 866-337-2728.
Cool, cool. Is there any other little tip you can give on, you know, again, we're sitting there, I just can't get it together. Any other suggestion that you've got for?
Actually, I have two suggestions.
Oh, good.
They're very similar.
But wait, there's more.
The first one is, when you get in that stuck place, stop for a second. Take out a clean sheet of paper on your tablet, your computer. Get some place to record these things. Anything that you have done that day. I got up, I washed my face, I made coffee. Start listing how productive you have been. And depending on how stuck you are, it could be something like, you know, I got out of bed, I walked down, you know, but most of the time it's going to be, okay, mundane. Oh, I did this before, you know, my work hours started. Oh, that's right, and I made this call, or I made this connection, or oh, I followed up on this. Because all you're looking at is, I have this project to do.
Yep.
But when you realize that you are productive, you also realize you can be productive.
Okay.
The second thing that I do is sit down either last thing at night or first thing in the morning, and write, just free flow, write down or record somehow everything that's on your mind. You know, it's like the to-do list, or it could be a thought that comes in about a conversation you had, and just write it down. Don't explain it, just write it down. And then you fold the paper and you put it away until the end of the day. I actually go through that at the end of the week, and I find out that a lot of things that I had on there, I don't put it on a to-do list because they're not priorities for me. But I end up checking off, oh, I did that, because it's out of my mind, it's recorded somewhere that I can go to, and then I can get on with my business.
So both of those tips are essentially similar in that it's, and hey, that's my tagline, get out of your head
Yes.
and get into action. So you're essentially saying that same thing. You're doing a brain dump of something.
You have to clean
Gets
out your
you-
files to have room for more.
Okay, okay, and in the studio audience is our writer coach extraordinaire, Mia Zachary, and we're not going to get her on camera, but I'm going to just from your head nod. Is that kind of what you help people with in terms of writer's block? Kind of the same thing, and I'll try to repeat what she says.
Yeah, a lot. I was nodding because it's just a smart thing to do. And one of the first things that I advise people who've got writer's block is to do a brain dump.
Okay.
I prefer doing it holographically, pen and paper, but you know, tablet, laptop, whatever. But you know, once you clear out all, oh, I got to pay the phone bill and my car payment's late and I got to pick up the kids or whatever. you have to clear a space for creativity. You cannot create in clutter.
So Mia, let me see if I can say this in a condensed way, since you didn't hear that. Mia said that yes, to sort of clearing out the clutter is essentially what Renee's talking about too, in terms of writer's block, in terms of any block, because that's essentially what project block is what we're talking about, or what I faced. And so yeah, doing the brain dump and clearing the clutter, I like that term, is the same thing Mia suggested for writer's block. So cool, it's kind of the same. Yeah, I like that. And you're in action.
Absolutely.
Just getting stuff out.
Absolutely.
Neat. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So see, actionable steps you can use right away when you can't seem to get it together. Cool. I don't know whether there's any questions on the live stream. I'm kind of looking over there at Glenn. No questions. Okay. Questions over there. Hello there. The rest of the audience. None. Okay. Cool. Yes.
Could you explain a little more, Renee, about what you mean that the results show where you are?
Okay, the question was for Renee to explain a little more about the results.
How the results.
How the results show where you are.
Oh, does that work on the?
No, I just thought I would.
Oh. I have one of those I have a toy mic in my car that's supposed to reflect be on the radio or some station. And I mean, if you ever see me driving around the Washington, D.C. area, and you look over and you see somebody with a microphone at the steering wheel going, "I will survive," or "Hear me roar," or whatever, it's me. And so Glenn just handed the microphone to Mia to ask the question, and I didn't know if the microphone worked. That was what all that was about.
I'm still not sure, but we'll figure it out. So one of the phrases that you repeated several times is that your results show where you are. I would like, if you could, for you to clarify that a little bit. Now, where Sylvia was feeling stuck. So you're saying the fact that she's looking for, procrastination and other things to do is showing her result. Right now, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm juggling 20 different things, and I'm about to start dropping stuff on the floor. So could you clarify a little bit about what the results are showing?
Actually, it's a very similar result. Both of you are in action. You're creating this, situation that you're in and taking a lot of things on so that you can't get things done.
Oh, we got a whoa out of that.
Your mindset is in your head, honey. If you think about, you wake up for weeks on end and you're really excited about what you're doing and you're excited about life and the people that you're meeting and whatever, and then that starts to slow down. There's a question that needs to be asked, and the question is, what am I getting ready to avoid?
Wow.
So that's what I mean by your results. If you've been as an entrepreneur, if you've been in business for 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 years, and you have very little progress to show for that, because you're sitting at your desk and you're coming up with all these great ideas, like a lot of entrepreneurs do. You get so excited about your idea that you forget that you have a business going on. So nobody's running the business, but you're creating all these great ideas. Well, you have to ask yourself, where am I? I'm an entrepreneur that's not making any money. Why am I not making any money? Well, because I have to do all these things
Oh, but
first.
I'm busy.
Right, yes. And
Gotta make sure I know.
Oh, but I'm busy.
exactly. And so busy just means I am afraid, I am, I don't deserve this. Whatever, that programming is, there's a message there that's getting in your way. And these things are coming up to say, look at your results, what do you want? Look at your results, what do you want? That's why when you feel inaction and you're stuck, asking yourself, what would make me feel better now, gets you out of that.
Great. Thank
Whoa.
you so much.
That was
really
good.
Insightful, and I appreciate a little too insightful.
That's
but
Is it what? Didn't she say? Didn't she say I get in there?
I get in there.
Thank you for playing.
Great. All right, Mia's leaning back there going, "Ooh, I feel, woo." You know, that was. Oh, do you have a question? Yeah. Hey, what? Say who you are. I already shouted out Mia. So.
Okay. And we chatted on the phone the other day. I'm Felicia.
Okay.
Yes, hi. So we finally get to meet in person. My question is, what if you get stuck because you don't know where to start? There's so much that you have idea, but where do I start? So you're so overwhelmed with where to start, you don't start anything.
A very similar thing. It looks different because you're at a different place, you know, in the process. When you are starting something new and you've got a lot of ideas, again, you're looking at not what makes sense in your head, but what makes you feel best. What idea do you get more excited about? What idea are you so excited about you've told a couple people and you're getting feedback? Oh, that doesn't make sense. You shouldn't do that. That's where those tapes start, you know, the recordings, the programming. That's when it starts coming in, because whatever your self-doubt is, whatever that message is, it's going to determine what you do next. So when you're starting out and you have all these ideas, say, I can only pick 3. Don't say 1. You just narrow it down a little. I can only pick 3. Which ones do I want to start with? And see where that takes you.
That helps tremendously.
And there's some decision. I mean, that's sort of the beginning of my world of helping people get that stuff that they're stuck with out of their heads. And that's where there's some decision tools that I know of that you can use. Actually, my mom started out with taught me the simple. You know, when I'm sitting there thinking, oh, I've got 5 things that I could be doing, and she did the simple plus piece of paper folded in half, plus minus column for each of those thoughts. And I started just doing sort of the brain dump, started writing down what are the pluses, what are the minuses of this idea. And that's all, some of it's subjective, of course. And then what's the pluses and the minuses of this idea? And then I'll have 5 pieces of paper with 5 thoughts about what are the pluses and minuses. And 2 or 3 of them usually pop up as, you know what, this one really wasn't all that important for now, because your question sometimes is for now. And then those 2 or 3 might pop and go, you know, this one really stokes me. This one I know will bring me some money. This one, and that kind of helps me funnel down. That's just a real simple decision tool. There's bunches of other ones too. One more question, and then we're going to move on to Mia.
Hi, my name is Nancy DeLuca Stemple, and my question is, how do you know when it's not just that you're avoiding something and there's some tape playing in your head, but it's actually something you're not really good at, and it's time to delegate that to an expert?
Oh, that's a really good question. When you've been doing something for a while and you begin to, you're aware now that you're starting to feel bad about it, that, you know, you're getting frustrated, you start looking and it's like, oh my God, today's the day I have to do the thing I don't want to do. It really is as simple as starting with how do you feel? And when you start feeling bad about that thing, let it go.
Wow.
Let it go.
Or find somebody to.
Right. Yeah. Delegate it, change how it's done, you know, whatever. But that's the point in time where you start feeling bad in some way. It's starting to affect you, your relationships, the business, or what have you. Look at that and say, what is it that I can change about that so that I feel better about it? And that really, really starts you in a process of figuring out, is that something I need to delegate, or is that something we don't even need to do anymore? I'm just doing it because it's habitual. We needed it at one time, and it's just part of the process.
I think every entrepreneur, whether you're entrepreneurial business-wise, nonprofit-wise, whatever, or career, we usually start out with, we've got to do it all. It's me. I mean, Chief Everything Officer of my new business. And that actually was on my business card for the longest time. CEO, Chief Everything Officer. At some point, there were things, exactly what you just said, that I would sit there and I think, okay, this is my own business. I'm not working for the corporation anymore. This is my own business. Why am I feeling so? Why am I trying to do something that I'm so stressed over? You know, I shouldn't feel this way about my own business because I'm in business to kind of enjoy life in a way.
Right.
I mean, and that was when it came time. There were some administrative things that I was every time I had to deal with it. It's like this is excruciatingly, detailed, and even though I'm detailed, not there. And that was when I first started feeling that. Eventually, I said, okay, find somebody who can
Delegation.
delegate. Find a virtual assistant, and I have a wonderful one. So, and who likes that detailed work, and I'm thinking, oh, thank you, because and so it's that feeling. But and then you deal with that whole. But do I have the money to pay somebody to do this? And that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, that's another program in your head. But yeah, if you start out with, if everybody did what they loved because they were good at it, because they got joy out of it, most of this would just disappear. Because you would just always be looking for, oh wait, I just decided I don't want to file anymore. Who's good at filing? Who loves filing? Anybody know anybody that loves filing? And then you find people. And you don't always have to pay for them. There's, barters and trades and
kids.
and kids and internships. Yeah.
I can't get my dog to do it.
Got to work on that.
There's something I heard. If we did what we loved, we'd never work a day in our lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's what you're looking at in all of these things. And there are business intellectual mind conscious business decisions that you need to make. But if you start there, a lot of times you still get stuck because you're not really connecting with what is it that I'm trying to accomplish and how is this going to feed me?
Yeah.
And that's why I work from the mindset from the inside out, because everything you do is affected by what's inside of you, no matter what you tell yourself.
I knew we were not going to do 10 minutes each.
But that's great.
So
You took up my time. I love it. Thank you.
this is now a matter of whether those watching who are willing to stay longer than the hour.
Well,
we started late, so you can't go anywhere anyway until 20 after. We had technical glitches here. So I'm going to move on to Mia. You keep saying you're like, oh please no, oh please let me just relax.
I'm
Hey,
relaxed. I'm good.
health, how we feel. And I don't, whether it's I'm not saying we have to be pumped up and physically fit in order to get out of stuck, but talk for a little bit about what health, how does our health affect our attitude and our mindset and how we get
I
unstuck.
can start by just giving you what the acronyms of my business mean for the health.
That's right, change, CHAIN.
So that's going to that'll kind of help with the whole
Okay.
stuck situation. So the C stands for change. And a lot of stuff has to start to change.
Change.
Exactly, right. But things have to change. And as Renee was saying, it's a mindset. And our minds are stuck as far as health and everything else too. So, but we have to get into a place where we know that enough is enough. So when enough becomes enough, that's when change really occurs. Until then, there's no change. And one of the things that we have to change is our health. We've been from children, we've already got that, as she was saying, we've already been programmed. So that computer chip has been loaded ever since she was born. So what it's done is it's already started messing with our DNA as far as our thinking goes. Because when you're a kid, your parents' first thing they tell you is, if you be good, I'll give you a candy.
Or eat everything on your plate.
Eat everything on your plate and you get dessert.
Yep.
So right there and then, well, first let's start back with the whole milk formula. The formula. First. You got to go back a little bit because the formula is actually where it already starts to begin because it's loaded with sugar. So the sugar is already starting. So I'm big on sugar because that's the one thing that really starts the whole depression, the whole everything in our body, the whole buildup of inflammation. All of that is all a part of making that stuck, the unclarity, everything starts really with sugar.
So grabbing that candy bar didn't help me any.
Not at all. It does give you, it gives you that boost like you're looking for.
Different kind of
but,
feeling good.
Oh yeah. So and then that's what I was saying. That H is for health. So we have to get our health, in line. And then the intuition, the knowledge.
Ooh.
Got to have knowledge about what is actually happening. Everything happens on the inside, not just in the mind, but in the whole
Throughout.
body structure.
Okay.
And the I call it the super information highway, the whole body system, the veins, the arteries, and all of that.
Wow.
All of that has to do with your whole clarity, with your thinking, with your being able to function. So as the whole learning process of how that in particular drink or that bar or that fruit, veggie, whatever, how is that actually affecting my system?
Okay.
Is it giving me the energy that I need? The proper energy to keep me going?
Proper
or
energy.
the proper energy? Or is it just gonna give me an energy to make it to that next step and then I'm gonna dump again and then I'm gonna have to go and I'm gonna have to re-stimulate myself.
Okay.
Okay? Then we have to have the proper attitude. That's where the A comes in. It's the attitude. If you have a negative attitude, getting unstuck, you're still gonna be stuck. That attitude has to change. I call it the stinking attitude because it stinks. When you get into that little step where you can start smelling a little something, it's time. You already know it's time to move on, move a little bit.
Zig
Because
Ziglar called it stinking thinking.
Stinking thinking.
that it gets to a point where that when you're looking at that computer and you just get to the point where you're just slumping and you're like, man, I can just wait till tomorrow. Stinking thinking, man. It's that attitude. You have to change the attitude. And
Okay.
once that attitude starts to kick in, then you're able to sit up and say, okay, now what do I need to do?
Okay.
How can I go to that next step, like she was saying? And then the N is nutrition.
Think
So
of that.
you have to put that nutrition, proper nutrition in. And when I say proper nutrition, when you're getting into that slump, a lot of people reach for a candy bar, that chocolate
coffee.
beverage with the little fizz to it, the coffee. All of those are stimulants.
Yeah.
And yes,
Yeah.
they will get you moving. Yes, they will get you started on, give you that energy. But that's that energy that's that flash energy. You're gonna
Okay.
get it, and in seconds it's gonna go. It's also gonna start making you crave more of that stuff because there's no nutrition. It's empty
Okay.
calories, empty nutrition. So your body is not able to really function at the level that it should be functioning. So that's where the nutritional part come in. So for me, I like to tell everybody that they need to make sure that they're getting some B vitamins in because the B vitamins is what's going to keep you going.
Okay.
Stuff with coenzyme Q10 in it, that's going to keep
Say
you
that.
going.
Say that slower.
Coenzyme Q10. You'll see it on the box.
Ah, the letter Q.
COQ10
Got
is
it.
what the bottles
Okay.
usually say. But I'm not saying taking the supplement. I'm saying putting it in through fruits, through veggies, through
Okay.
greens and stuff like that. The number 2 is because it takes 2 people to actually be able to distinguish what's going on.
Ooh.
Because you feel one way, and like Renee was saying, she listens to you, and I listen to you, and I watch you, and I'm able to distinguish and say, nah, you're not having that issue. This is the issue that you're really having. This is looking at your dumping that you dumped out for me as far as what you've been putting into your body.
right.
This is what's causing that fog.
Okay.
So we just need to clear this up a little bit. So again, that's the 2 people because you have to be able to work and prosper. I think everybody's life is supposed to be prosperous.
Right.
And if you're in that stuck part, as you're talking about, you're not prospering.
Yep.
You're not prospering. I mean, you're literally just there and you're taking up space. That's what I call it, taking up space, stop taking up. So we need to prosper. So that's my part of saying the getting stuck part. It all works through my whole title of my
Cool.
company.
You said something, and you just said it in passing that I want you to build on more. The proper nutrition was one thing you said.
Okay.
The other piece of this, and it just went right out. That's part of what probably better nutrition would do. Retain memory more. I'm when we're stuck. Now, there's long-term health.
Right.
And there are the things that we need to do over time in order to be healthier. There's also, oh man, however way I've been living, and in whatever condition the health is in, I'm stuck now. I don't have time to take, taking vitamins for the next 3 weeks might get me somewhere, but I need to get out of my funk now.
Right.
What kinds of things can we do for that? I need to get out of my funk now and move forward.
I love how Renee just looked at me.
In addition to hiring you for the long-term health.
Yeah.
That's a really good question to ask her.
Actually, one of the things that I recommend people do is hydrate. Because probably about 90% of us are dehydrated.
Okay.
And the whole dehydration part of it is one of the reasons that we stay fogged. Because I can probably ask you, how many cups of water did you drink today?
Oh, about 4.
What about you, Renee?
At 4, I think.
I'm below. I've only had 30 ounces of water
So
today.
our bodies are made up of approximately about 80 to 90% water. So if you're not giving that to yourself, then right there you're already causing an issue.
Okay, so
because
how
you
much
have to
should
be
I
able-
be drinking? Because, you know, that interruption thing, I'm going to the bathroom every hour.
Well, everybody's concerned about the interruption thing as far as going to the bathroom, and that's why a lot of people won't drink water.
Mhm.
But the point of the matter is once the body obtains the proper amount of hydration, your bathroom runnage is going to stop. But what it's doing when you take it in, 8 cups is what they recommend a day.
Okay.
Okay, 8-ounce glasses of water. So there's 64 ounces of water. I recommend half of your body weight in
That's
ounces.
what I thought I'd heard.
Because that way you're making sure that you're getting enough, because everybody's body weight is different. So that 8 glasses to Renee may be perfect, but I'm heavier than Renee, so that 8 glasses is not really
Okay,
giving me
that's what
what
I
I
heard.
need. So half of your body weight in ounces is what I would recommend that people would do. I lost my thought. So the hydration part, like I said, once your body gets hydrated, the reason that you'll stop running to the restroom so much is because right now your body is holding on to toxins. And so the toxins have nowhere to go. So they're taking up the room in your cells and in your fats, so that it can make sure that it has something that it can be
Okay.
hydrated on. So because they don't know when you're going to give it to it again. So once you start giving it the hydration, the body starts to say to itself, wow, I'm cool, I'm gonna be able to do what I need
Okay.
to do to function. Then it starts releasing all of that toxin and all of that bad stuff off. And then once it can as long as you keep it there, you don't have to worry about having to go. But I'll be honest with you, for the first week or so, you might be like, oh,
Yeah.
Johnny, be quick, because I mean, I ain't got time for this one.
15 minutes.
Yeah. the keys in the door and your legs are running. You know, you got to go. But that's only because your body's not hydrated. So once, like I said, once
Okay.
you get that hydration, so that's one thing I would tell everybody to definitely do, is the hydration. The other thing is, like I said, making sure that you're getting in enough nutrients. And the nutrients come in a way of people don't eat enough fruits and veggies, point blank. So my thing is to get those in is smoothies. Those are the quickest way to do it. I would say juicing, because I love my juice, because I'm the juice queen, but most people have a blender in their home.
Okay.
Most people don't have a juicer in their home. So even with the NutriBullet, a lot of people think that's a juicer, but it's a blender. But with the NutriBullet or the regular size blender, you go at night while you're watching your favorite TV show. At every commercial, you get up and you chop up whatever you're gonna make. So get your recipe together. And it's a strawberry banana recipe, so you got your strawberry and your bananas. That first commercial, you run in there, you take your 5 or 6 strawberries, you throw them in a bag, you chop up your banana, you throw it in the bag, you zip that Ziploc bag up and you put it in the refrigerator. So tomorrow morning, when you're rushing, you don't have to worry about, oh my God, I gotta grab this apple or this whatever.
Okay.
You have it, everything in your bag, you dump it in the blender, throw a cup of milk in, quote unquote, no milk, almond milk, coconut milk, hemp milk, no dairy milk, but you throw the milk in and then you go ahead and you can be on your way. So
Now,
that's
would
helped to get
that
it in.
work? Would that work short term? In other words, I have my bags of fruit in the refrigerator, and they last a few days. I mean, and so I'm sitting here stuck. Do I go get some juice or smoothie? I mean, would that help me instead of grab my chocolate bar?
Yes. The recommendation is to get a piece of fruit if you're getting stuck. The fruit has got the sugar in it. That's what's going to help you get yourself back up again. And that's all you're looking for when you're getting that stimulant from the coffee or whatever. You're looking for that stimulation. So you need that stimulation. Sugar is what really gets that stimulation. So I would recommend getting a piece of fruit.
But natural sugar is what I'm hearing.
Natural sugar, right. Even almonds. So you're only supposed to have an ounce of almonds a day. So that's about 12 to 14 almonds. So you take you some almonds and that's all. And then you take those and
You got to start somewhere.
and some raisins, almond and raisins, perfect snack.
Ooh, okay.
Peanut butter even. Peanut butter has just enough sugar in it. And then you have the sodium coming out of your celery. So you have your peanut butter in your celery. Vitamin C is always another good thing to kind of give you that energy too. So you know, something with citrus in it or carrots or something like that. So it kind of gets you.
Wow. You were talking the hydration. 8, half your body weight in ounces. Any liquid, or does it have to be water? I mean, and I'm being a little facetious, but still.
Yeah, you're
Well,
facetious.
no, but we have drink. I've got Ocean Spray. I'm not advocating the brand, but I mean, I've got Ocean Spray cranberry juice in my refrigerator. I've got
You got those
iced tea
those
in the
items.
refrigerator.
Those items. That's when I have to go a little bit further into things.
Okay.
But that's when you go into the label reading because
Okay.
you want to see what you're actually drinking. Those things are not
No, I
what
don't.
you're actually drinking.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want
I
to,
know.
but you do. But you do want water
Yeah.
as much as possible. You want it to be water. And I know people say, some people I have some of my clients say, I hate water. So what I tell them to do is infuse the water. So you take you some cucumbers and some mint. That's one water. Or you take you some strawberries and some basil, and that's another water. So you just putting different spices as well as fruit in there with it, and you can leave it overnight for 24 hours for a more infused flavor. But if you take that and carry it around with you and just drink it off and on during the day, it helps you to get it down so that you don't
That's a good
feel like that you're not getting enough hydration.
Okay.
Another way to get the hydration is the fruits that have the high water contents, like the melons. Well, not celery, but melons is the main thing. It has a lot of water content. Some grapes sometimes it helps with get the saliva and stuff going. So any type of fruit that has like a good water base in it, that also helps with lettuce, helps with that as well. So yeah, eat something like that.
Some of those things you just mentioned strike me as satisfying both the tactile feel, the crunch, or the, if that's what you crave, or the cutting things up in bits. I find myself sometimes when I'm stuck and I'm sitting there looking at the screen or wherever I'm stuck, and it's like I just want to
Reach for something.
reach over for something, and it's the nibbles, and so that sounds like it satisfies some of that.
And a lot of times what's happening with the nibble and the snacking part, I know a lot of personal trainers say to eat 6 meals a day. That is scary for me because 6 meals a day can put you over your caloric intake. So I don't tell anybody to do 6 meals a day because until they learn how to eat properly.
How to do those 6 meals, okay.
Then it's really hard for me to say eat 6 meals because then you're gonna, you can mess yourself up. But for the whole snacking whole piece is once the body starts receiving, that you won't even be wanting to snack. Your body, because your body is actually, it's calling for something. And usually we're deficient in an area of a mineral or a vitamin.
Okay.
And the body is looking for it. So when you start getting those wanting to munch sensations, you have to sit back sometimes and really think, what have I eaten today? And the body is actually calling for it, and when it's not getting it, that's what I call toxic hunger. It's toxic hunger because you're actually eating it just to be eating because the body is still crying out for something that it can't get, it hasn't received.
Okay, so workaholic entrepreneurs that are starting out or they're getting ready to move into another, a larger business, and they're at that point where they're going to jump off. You end up putting in a lot of hours. and sometimes you end up forgetting to eat because you're staring at the computer
Oh, yeah.
screen for several hours, and then you say, I should stay here for another several hours, and all of a sudden.
Yeah, I know a couple of those. But anyway,
So,
I'm sorry.
so,
But
but that's what you're saying is when you start to notice that you just keep getting up to get something
to get, and
eat.
that's why if you ever go to an office buildings, you always see the snack machines.
Yeah.
Because those people really don't pay attention to eating, because the first thing they do is they get in there and they get engrossed in what they're doing. Next thing they look at is like, oh, it's 3 o'clock and I get off in 2 hours and I haven't had nothing to eat. So the first place they go, now the mind is saying, I want something, I want something. So they go straight to the vending machine and they get
Which is filled with pretzels, potato chips,
Chocolate.
chocolate, and I mean even
So
Fritos
they usually
and
grab a
cheese
soda, and they usually grab a
Yep.
bar, and then they come back to the desk and they down that and
Yep.
try to make it home, and they end up stopping in one of those other places on their way home so that they can eat, because their body is still, now they're ready to, like I said, that toxic eating, because now they're just eating to be eating. They're not eating to really, they're not thinking nutritional, they're thinking eating, and we've been programmed that way not to think nutritional. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm eating, and I always tell people we're surviving. We're actually malnutritioned. Every last one of us is malnutritioned because that's the way we eat. We don't eat for the purpose of giving us nutrients. We eat at the purpose of eating. So when you're busy like that, my thing to my clients is, those things called smartphones? Let's see how smart they are, because they can remind us that it's time to eat. So I tell them to sit their clock, because the stomach empties every 5 hours.
Oh.
So the stomach should empty after every 5 hours is when the stomach really empties out. So in that 5-hour period, you should have your clock saying, ding ding, time to eat. Okay?
Well, that's good to know.
So I tell them to use that. I have some people that use their computers because they're at their computers all the time. So they set their alarm. They actually have it scheduled on their calendars,
Wow.
because
That's an
the thing
appointment.
is
It's an appointment.
it's
With
a habit
yourself,
that
yeah.
you have to start focusing on. Eating is a habit. You have to take that time out to get away from your computer to eat.
Wow.
Because when you're eating, you're not focusing on what you're doing. You're like this. So the brain is not really registering what you're doing.
Okay.
So you need to take a step away from that computer, sit down at a table or desk, whatever, and you need to just concentrate on what you're doing so that the body can intake the nutrients that it needs. Otherwise, you won't be able to get it.
Plus you taste it. So what do you do to help folks stay healthy, and how do people reach you?
I put them through a drill. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, everybody just went closed.
She does.
Just lost everybody.
No, what I do to teach people, what I do is I actually educate people on the whole process of retraining and reinventing their habits. I help them to break old habits and increase new habits. And we do that through a STEP program that I have set up. And then I also have a program where if you just want something that you can just like get done, I got a 3-day, a breakfast, lunch, and a dinner that I can show you that you can do that has, balanced out so that
Okay.
you can get the nutrients and stuff that you need. Something quick so that they can, get out the door with it and don't have to worry about a whole bunch of fussing. And so it's a couple of different ways.
And they can reach you how?
They can reach me by going to my website at www.chain, or they can contact me at 240-832-3020.
And again.
240-832-3020, or www.chain, prosper.com.
All right.
Awesome.
All right, and we'll post that on the live stream chat area too. Studio audience or online, questions for Mia? Microphone on?
Yeah.
Okay, it's on.
Oh, I was going to let the online people ask questions
Oh,
first, but
Anybody have questions? Ah, cool. cool.
Oh, good.
Folks are online
Thank
clapping.
you. Thank you. Glad you're getting some.
Okay, so here's a question from one Mia to another.
Namesake, let's go.
My first one is a lot of times I forget to make the infused water, and I really don't like plain water at all. So what I tend to do is keep bottles of sugar-free, like Powerade Zero. What are your thoughts on drinks like that?
My thoughts are negative on those.
Nicely done.
Being to the point that those zeros actually have a substitute sweetener in them. So those are just as harmful to our system as having regular sugar. So my suggestion is that if you want a Powerade, that you take your own juice and infuse it. Even if you can find some 100% juice in the store, take that and put it in the water opposed to doing the Powerade, and then take you a pinch of sea salt, Celtic sea salt, and put it in the water as well. And if you can, do a citrus juice, because like I said, you want to keep that in there, because what happens is the salt is one of the things that the people are using in it. The drinks are not really meant for everybody either. They was really meant for athletes.
That's what I heard.
Because they're sweating so much.
Yeah.
And they have to get the electrolytes back in. But it's just to the point that a lot of people have gotten used to just going in and picking them up because of the flavor, because of the colors. So they're not really meant for them. But if you feel that you really have to have something to that extent, like I said, take you some, actually, I make my own and I'll tell you how I do it real quick. You take a orange, and you take an apple and you juice both of those, and then you take the water, about 8 ounces of water and a pinch of sea salt, and that'll make you your own healthy, natural Gatorade, whatever.
Can you make enough of that to last so that, I mean, because what I heard Mia say is she's busy and you forget to do it. So
The busy part is that there is some time. Everybody say, I don't have enough time to eat healthy and I don't have enough time. As I said, you got that commercial break, okay? Or you got that time where you just sitting up there and you just like reading a book. If that book ain't something that's empowering you, put that book down and go get yourself empowered in that kitchen and do what you got to do. So don't say you don't have time. But you have
this is
time.
a taste of what she does.
I'm sorry, but I mean that's just who I am, and
That's right.
that's the way that I try to talk to people, because the real deal is that you do have time, and you got to figure out what's more important.
Oh no, it's just all that, it takes time to chop all
That stuff up, that's all.
I know.
So my
that's-
second question
right.
is, it has been a very long time since I've eaten fast food. I mean, it to the point where it's like, I can't even drive by and see the sign without feeling vaguely nauseated. But I do like good food fast still. So like one of my favorite places is Chipotle, for example. What do you think about places like that where, it's mostly vegetables and salads and stuff like that, but I didn't make it at home?
Sodium. I'm sorry, but I mean, you have to realize that those places, when they pack that stuff has to last.
Yeah,
So
that's
they
why I was
have to
asking.
put it in something to preserve it, and 90% of the time it's salt.
Yeah.
So you can get a nice, pretty Chipotle bowls, and Lord knows I like Chipotle too, so I have to be careful too. But you can get that bowl, and that bowl can be the prettiest thing. But go online and look at the sodium in there, because that's what made me stop getting them. The one I get is vegan, of course, or vegetarian, or however y'all want to, however they put it. And I was getting 2,800 grams of sodium in my one bowl. That's more than you're supposed to have in a day. So, I mean, right there and then, it was just like, oh my goodness.
You're just ruining everything for me. Thanks.
I'm sorry.
I'm thinking, okay, Chipotle for sponsor, cross that off. I wasn't.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you?
Sometimes while I'm working, and I want to do that snack thing, I realize I'm actually not hungry, I'm thirsty. But I don't really feel thirsty, but I go and I get the water because I heard sometimes you're really dehydrated and you're not really
Exactly.
hungry. Is that true?
Yeah, a lot of people take hunger. They think that they're hungry and they really are thirsty. And if you, before you go and pick up something to eat, if you would just take and just drink something first, it usually would knock it away and you won't even have to worry about it. So yeah, you just try the water first.
You know, one thing that I realized for myself is, you know, sometimes you go into the kitchen, you're like, you know, I'm hungry, but I don't know what I want.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that's the signal that I'm dehydrated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because your body's not telling you what kind of food to eat because it's really...
It's really not wanting to
Wow.
eat. Right, yeah. And that's why I would say, because you hear people say it a lot, you know, man, I'm in here, I don't know what I got the taste for. You really don't know what you have the taste for. It's because you're not really hungry.
Okay.
And then they'll go eat, and then they'll feel miserable after they eat because they're like, it didn't even taast right.
And then they go
It
looking
wasn't what
for
I want.
something
And then they're
else
going to
eat.
go look for something else. So
Uh-huh.
that's that toxicity again
Okay.
that's taking over. So,
So that does bear
yeah. Mhm.
Very true.
Very true. Mhm.
Let me move. I'll move us along a little bit. It was like I forgot to ask both of you, so I'll ask you first. If somebody contacts you, is there something you can give? You can say, "I've got this free recipe," or something that you can that folks can get if they contact you.
Sure. I have a couple of different recipes depending on where they are in their medical part of their situation too, because what I
True.
what I recommend would have to be also making sure that it goes with what they you know, if they're on any medications and stuff like that too. I like to make sure that I don't cross lines. But
And
I do have a couple of recipes that I could give them as far as that in different areas of breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
And they can contact you through your website, chain2prosper.com.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool. And Renee?
And me, I have a couple mindset tools. One of them is a free report on 6 steps to change. And I have a couple other tools on there. If somebody wants to get in contact with me through my website, send me an email or gives me a call and just says, you know, I saw you on Sylvia's Idea Lab show, I'd be more than happy to give it to them.
Cool. And they'll reach you on your website through
Land of Possibility,
that's a
singular.
Yes, I'm
.com.
used to that. Yep, landofpossibility.com. Great. Thank you for
Thank you for having
being my guests.
Thank you
And-
for having us.
And I know we're running long, but I wanted to share 1 or 2 little tips that I have for my can't get going. What did I call this thing? Can't seem to get it together.
Because you can't get it together.
Such a good sport.
One of the challenges of hosting something is that you're so absorbed in the subject and in the guest and in the message that you kind of forgot, what you're trying to say. Did you have a question too, or?
I didn't have a question. I just had a statement
Okay.
for me. Thank you for clarifying the water piece. I'm a big water. I drink water all day, and I've had some people tell me that you can drink too much water.
You can.
Okay.
You can, but that's why I stopped at the half your body weight, because you can drink too much water.
Okay. I'd heard that some runner,
Yeah.
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 I think, drank too much or something for what.
Yeah, some of the high school tragedies of football players
Right.
in practice and whatever, they
Yeah.
traced back to that
Interesting.
too.
Interesting. Well, a couple of my tips were that, I don't know if you call it mindset. Well, no, it's not particularly mindset. I know it's not health. Just to share with you, I said I kind of got myself out of my own funk, but I didn't really. So 2 things I want to share with you, and for how I worked through getting out of my funk. And the first one, I know you've heard this over and over and over again, but this is exactly what I did to move forward. It's the people that I'm around. I mean, and if we're entrepreneurs, we are so much on our own and working on our stuff on our own. And I know you've heard this before, but it is so true. The people that I'm around, I made myself just find people. And I sat down, and this morning I thought, okay, in the last 7 days, and now I'm actually moving again, I'm in action. I've come to an event here in the Small Business CEO Collabs around people. I talked to my coach. I have an accountability partner. We talked. This is in the last 7 days. I went to a small networking event yesterday. Small, 4 people. It was supposed to be more, but there were 4 people, and we had a chance to really connect and really dig into where we were each stuck. And we had a long conversation about that. I had dinner with a friend and colleague, and that I emphasize that because she understood. She's also a coach. She understood my stuck. I kind of had some time with my life partner, and so we talked about kind of just me being stuck and my feelings about being discouraged. My virtual assistant, my administrator, who really believes in me. Oh my God, that's so important to have staff, to have support, who really believes in me. And so things that I wasn't getting done, she was taking care of or looking at, or would send me a note saying, listen, I thought about this. I thought, oh my God, thank goodness. So, April, if you're still on the line, shout out to you because you have helped me move forward and get unstuck. I reached out to somebody just to air my feelings. I mean, sometimes you just need to get into one of those BITCH sessions, and just kind of dump and not stay there too long. I conferred with my mastermind partner, one of my mastermind partners, and took his advice. I met and connected with 3 new connections at that event last week, and those 3 pumped me and gave me new ideas. And then I had a Toastmasters meeting yesterday, just in 7 days. And did I work on my stuff? Believe it or not, yeah, I did. But just being around the right people helps get unstuck and get yourself back together again. Because other together people, which that's one of the important pieces of the right people, other together people also can't seem to get it together at times, and there was some concrete advice that I got. So that was my one big piece of advice: is get around other people who can get you out of your funk, and you may not even know or identify that they are the ones to get you out of the funk. You just know that they're moving, they're doing something, and you've got to get away from being alone all the time to be around other folks.
I was just going to say, one thing that I have recently learned is when I would get into a funk, I would go to certain people because they made me feel good about being in my funk.
Oh.
It's like, I know I'm going to call this person because they'll understand why I feel this way and they'll let me feel this way. It's a really big distinction that you said is be with people that are moving forward, that aren't stuck right now, that are going in the direction that you want to go.
That was okay. You're right.
Yeah, and my pastor says, get away from those who have your problems and get around those who have your answer.
I like that.
Say that again.
Get away from those who have your problems and get with those who have your answers.
You
like
preacher
that.
said it?
Too much fun.
That's okay. And one of the ways to find other people and to be around other resources, other advice, I have created actually a virtual coaching and training program, or virtual coaching and continuity program that is called the Idea Success Vault. And it's a vault, I'll say more about it in a few more minutes. But one of the features of it is other people who are also have access to that vault, a vault of resources, not meant vault to lock out, but vault of resources and people so that we can ask questions of each other and have a virtual conversation in that forum. So I have created actually the Idea Success Vault. You'll be able to get to it by going to Idea Success Community. That's what I'm building, a community of people, ideasuccesscommunity.com to register for getting access to that vault. And I'll give you more specifics in a minute because I need to wrap this up because it's bedtime for some of you. The other tip that I'll give is, and it's related to what you already advised about taking that big task and breaking it into smaller parts. And even if you think you're tackling a small piece, taking that small piece and breaking it into smaller parts so that you just do one little itty bitty thing related to that task that you're stuck on that day and move forward. I had to realize that I got stuck on building a whole campaign for the next month that's coming up. Next month is International Ideas Month. And I'm throwing down an Ideas Success Smackdown 30-day challenge to help all of us move forward on one thing that we can get done in 30 days that we have not gotten done either this year yet, and we've been meaning to get that done, or last year, something that got carried over to this year, and you're like, I've been meaning to get that done. And I'm gonna make you pick something that can be done in 30 days. And I'm gonna be with you every day with some kind of motivation, some little assignment, some little something to move you on through that one thing that you're gonna get done by the end of March. So, that said, I want to do that to help myself as well as to help anybody that wants to play join me on that challenge. Backtrack. So my where I was stuck was building that 30-day thing.
Activity.
Yeah, building what do I want people to do every day, and writing the notes that relate to that, and finding the material and I'm still in the process of doing that, but I was really stuck for about 2 weeks and wasn't getting anywhere with it. And I finally realized, okay, that's because I'm looking at this task as the 30-day project.
The whole picture.
I've got to do this whole 30-day thing. When I finally said to myself, okay, number one, follow your own advice and tackle one little thing about this 30-day project, I then started looking at it as, okay, if I can get 7 days worth of stuff done in the next couple of days, and then even that got me stuck. So then I said, all right, if I can get the message that I'm sending out to everybody on day one written, then maybe I can get something else done. And I floundered on that for even a day. But that made me think, you know what? I've got 2 weeks to build this thing, and I can be building it while I'm I can be building the end while we're in the beginning of the month. So it became more manageable, and it finally hit me that I just need to get a couple of days of communication done today. And then I just need to get this one assignment figured out tomorrow. Right. And that's the little pieces that I mean that finally, and I've gotten 7 days worth of stuff taken care of at this point, but that's what got me moving. So that's what I'm going to have you do in that 30-day period. To be a part of the Smackdown, you can go to, if you're typically on I've got a private group on Facebook. I've got a private group on Google+. Those are the two that everybody seems to be signing up on. So either go to Facebook and look for Idea Success Smackdown, and there'll be a group for that, and ask to join that group. It's not costing you anything. In fact, this is probably about a couple $1,000s of my coaching that's going to be complimentary for the 30 days, because this is what I would take you through if I were coaching. So, private Facebook group called Idea Success Smackdown, private Google Plus group called Idea Success Smackdown, real hard here, and just ask to join, and I will accept you in. And once you're a member of the private groups, you'll be hearing from me every day starting the beginning of March. So, to help you through that one thing to get done by the end of the month next month, International Ideas Month.
Awesome.
That's about all I'm going to say, because again, I want to wrap up for time's sake. So get around other people who won't hold you down. That's the right people. And join me on my Smackdown, and join us on our Smackdown, and that should get you moving forward.
Get you
Awesome.
unstuck.
Yep.
Awesome.
Questions last? Any questions at the end?
Yeah. Seems like
Nobody? Glenn is online there? Okay.
Yay.
Hey, thank you for hanging in there.
Very good.
There's claps going on in the studio audience.
And online.
That's online, okay. And yeah, thanks for hanging in there. And I will see you every third Wednesday of the month, 7 o'clock, will be another Idea Lab. So join me next month. We're going to have a cool, scares me to death still, but we're going to have an idea, an ideation session, meaning I'm going to have 2 or 3 volunteers who are going to talk about their issue, something that they're stuck on, something that they want to get out of their heads, and we're going to do live. I won't know what's coming. We're going to do live what I do in strategy sessions for a fee, a nice fee. We're going to do it live so you can see the process that I take people through.
That's invaluable.
As well as they'll get something out of it.
Yeah, that's invaluable.
So thank you, Renee. Thank you, Mia.
Thank you, Sylvia.
We are done. So again, thanks a lot. Good night.
Good night.
All right.
Awesome.